911.
The roof is completely caved in on us. We need
These people were ordered to evacuate during Hurricane Ivan, but didn't.
I'm in a wheelchair and water's coming in. Can't respond right now because of the condition of the hurricane.
Evacuation orders are a serious matter. It means local officials think your life could be in danger. You need to listen to them. This hurricane season, get a plan. Go to floridadisaster.org and get your plan today.
This message is brought to you by the Florida Division of Emergency Management, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
Guests and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Welcome to the Ask the Experts show with local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Enjoy being educated in such topics as personal injury law, community association law, family law, bankruptcy law, along with health show topics like pain management, men's health, and dental implants. Now, sit back and enjoy today's Ask the Experts with host Steve-O.
Good evening. I want to be. Oh, we got to do something about that. I want to be a expert when I get older. Anyway, today is. I hope none of our other experts are listening. This is my favorite expert. I love this guy. We've been together for 4 years. And it is definitely our highest rated show. We get more phone calls with this show. And they even tell us how much they like the show on top of that. What's wrong with these people? He's laughing. Hey, let me introduce you to, I used to say the expert, but he's my friend, Robert Kaye, attorney. Certified senior partner, Robert Kaye, of Kaye, Bender, Rembaum, the best of the best when it comes to community association law and HOA. But you're gonna call in tonight, which we never have any problems doing. We have got a whole new list of emails that you have written for questions to ask to Robert. If you'd like to call the show, the number is 888-565-1470. 888-565-1470. People keep saying I don't say the number enough, so Robert, I'm going to be saying it a lot. Let me introduce you to my friend, Robert Kaye.
Hey, good afternoon, Steve. Happy New Year to you and all our listeners.
That's all I get. Is that all I get from the opening I gave you? So
I'm too humble.
Yeah, you are. So it's God. We've been over 4 years, Robert. That's amazing. That's amazing.
It seems like it was just yesterday we started.
Right. Did you have a good New Year?
It was quiet, eventful, sitting at home.
We don't go out anymore, do we?
Well, these days with the COVID situation, we figured it's best to not get involved in any kind of a crowd situation, so just stayed home.
Well, I don't know. Do we have people waiting on the phone yet, Freddie? Okay. So I want you, because our numbers have gone way up. I don't know what you're doing to the show, but they've gone way up, and I want you to tell people, like, if they're hearing it for the first time, about your firm, Kaye, Bender, Rembaum.
Well, Kaye, Bender, Rembaum is a full-service law firm primarily focusing in the area of community association law, representing condominium associations, homeowner associations, cooperatives, and dealing with all aspects of their operations, daily operations, any litigation-type situations. If you think of a community association as a mini municipality, we're like the city attorneys to them. We deal with addressing issues of covenant interpretation, whether they're able to do what they want to do or how to accomplish what they want to do, collecting of unpaid assessments, negotiating contracts, addressing construction defects, dealing with just about any kind of a situation that an association might come up against on a day-to-day basis.
There is so
That's basically
much.
us.
There's so much to
And by the
know.
way, in 3 offices, Pompano Beach, Palm Beach Gardens, and Tampa.
Well, I noticed your logo changed a little bit, and now you've added to it development plan development.
There's some work we're doing in that direction, yes.
Okay. Should we know what that is?
Well, that involves community associations. When there's issues that involve the municipal ordinances and approval variances, developer representation, we do a little bit of that through Palm Beach Gardens. And we're actually very involved in with the legislature. Michael Bender and Sean Brown and Allison Hertz get very involved in the drafting of new legislation that might be coming down the pike, and working with lobbyists and legislators and getting it into what is Florida statutes.
So, if you'd like to talk to Attorney Robert Kaye Bender Rembaum, if you are in a community association, gated community, HOA, condo, give us a call here. There's no such thing as a stupid question. It's 888-565-1470. We'd love to hear from you. This is very unusual. Usually this time of day, we are packed. So if you've never been able to get in before, this is the great time to get in. And like I said, we have all kinds of emails that you've texted us. And it seems like everything is about COVID now, Robert.
Well, COVID is certainly on everybody's minds, but it's something that we've been addressing for 10 months already, and the way associations operate. Things were a little bit more strictly regulated during the course of the spring and summer last year. Things got a little relaxed at various county levels, but we still have to be vigilant. Well, there's a vaccine here, but it's not readily available yet, so it's going to take several more months of maintaining this particular lifestyle that we had to grow accustomed to over the past 10 months or so.
Notice a lot of questions are about the elections. Do a lot of the associations have their elections in January?
Well, election season, as it were, when most of the elections seem to occur, through the years, this has been a snowbird type area of the country where a lot of people come in late in the year, and then through the first January, February, March, and into April, and they all head back to where they came from. So the election season has evolved to primarily take place between November and April, with the vast majority in January, February, March. So yes, this is a very busy time for elections. With the COVID situation, that's complicating it further because people don't want to gather as they normally would. So there's a lot of annual meetings that are taking place on like a Zoom platform. So people are attending virtually, and that becomes complicated as well as to how they can accomplish what they're trying to accomplish. Condominiums are a little bit easier in that regard because of the statutory procedure of mail-in votes. So you don't have to physically be there to vote. Everything should be in the association's hands as of the day of the meeting. So for the most part, it should be easier in a condominium setting. Some HOAs are operating that way, but many of them are the old-fashioned way. So we need proxies, we need people, we need a quorum, and that gets more complicated when you're not supposed to gather in groups.
Well, we actually just got a call from our first question. He said, when are you going to ask my question? And his is actually the first one, Jack in Delray Beach. He said, our annual elections are coming up and ballots have been mailed out, but some of the ballots might not have been received. Can we still have a legal election?
Is Jack in a condominium, I'm assuming?
You know what
Does
he
he say?
doesn't say?
Okay.
Is it
Well, let's
different?
assume that he is.
Is it different?
Let's assume that he is. The fact that he said he's mailed out the ballots would be an indication that it is a condominium. The association is required to send the ballots out within at least 15 days of the election, or as long as 34 days, depending on any other potential specific provision within the documents. The statute has that time frame. So as long as the association has mailed them out by that date, whether or not an owner receives it, assuming they use the appropriate address for that owner, that should not affect whether or not the election goes forward. What's important for the election to go forward is that they have received back at least 20% of the ballots from the owner, so that they have met the minimum statutory requirement to have a valid election.
We're gonna go to our first break, and when we come back, you've got some programs coming up that we're going
We
to talk.
do.
Yeah, first of the year, and give everybody the phone number, Robert. They can call your office the morning if they'd like to set up just to come meet with you and talk about their association.
Now, most of our meetings are Zoom, so they don't have to come.
Yeah, that's right.
But you can reach us at 800-974-0680. You can email at info@kbrlegal.com. You can go to our website at kbrlegal.com, and there's a little box for requesting a contact, and fill that out, and it gets to us, and someone will get back to you very shortly.
Okay, we're going to go to break, and when we come back, we'll have more with attorney Robert Kaye of Kaye, Bender, Rembaum.
Kaye Bender Rembaum is a full-service community association law firm devoted to the representation of more than 1,200 community associations throughout Florida under the direction of attorneys Robert L. Kaye, Esquire, Michael S. Bender, Esquire, and Jeffrey A. Rembaum, Esquire. Kaye Bender Rembaum is dedicated to providing clients with an unparalleled level of personalized and professional service regardless of their size, and takes into account their individual needs and financial concerns. Kaye Bender Rembaum assists clients in all matters of association representation, including but not limited to collection of assessments, contract negotiation, covenant review and amendment, covenant enforcement, and construction defect claims. Kaye Bender Rembaum also keeps clients up to date on new developments in the condo and HOA law and how they are personally affected by them. Kaye Bender Rembaum provides prompt, effective, high-quality, cost-efficient, and understandable legal advice and services to a diverse client base. Call Kaye Bender Rembaum today at 800-974-0680. That's 800-974-0680.
And we are back. Let me see if I can get Robert to turn his volume down a little bit.
I think it's me.
Yeah. If Freddie says it is, it is.
Yeah, I would say.
Okay.
Let me find it. Is this better?
Can you tell, Freddie? Yeah. Okay.
Is that better?
Yeah. Robert's also a comedian on Saturday nights at the Black Box. So let's talk about the programs you've got coming up.
Okay, let's do that. There's a few in the month of January. On January the 14th, and these are all going to be on Zoom. There's no personal appointments for this one, but they will want you to register a spot. On January the 14th, we actually have a double header happening, starting at 10:30 in the morning to 11:30. Elections, condominiums, homeowners associations, and cooperative. That's going to be taught by Allison Hertz. And there is continuing education credits for that particular class. And since we were just talking about elections, that's an appropriate one for this month. That's going to be followed at noon on the same day, January 14th. Guest restrictions and screening tenants and new owners. Is it worthwhile? And that will be taught by Peter Mullengarden of our Palm Beach Gardens office. Also has one continuing education credit for managers. On January the 19th at 12 noon to 2 p.m., we have a Condominium Association board member certification course that will be taught by Andrew Black out of our Pompano Beach office. There are 2 continuing education credits for that. And we know board members, new board members should be having their board member certification, and it's best to get it through education than on the paper. And then on January the 28th at 10 a.m. to 12 noon, this gentleman named Michael Bender will be teaching the 2021 legal update, which are changes in the statutes that were adopted in 2020. Also 2 continuing education credits for that. That's at 12 noon, and that's going to be hosted by Affinity Management Services. If you go to kbrlegal.com and choose the KBR calendar, you'll be able to find the event that you want. You click on that and register for that event. Now, in February, I know we don't want to talk about February too much, but February is Expo month, and there are 3 expos that are taking place in Miami and in Palm Beach County, and then in Broward. The Miami one is February the 4th, which might be before we see you next, at 9 o'clock in the morning to 4:30 at the Miami Beach Convention Center. We'll be there, and we do have courses that we're teaching at each of the expos. Guest restrictions will be at 10:30 a.m. and the 2020 legal update is at 2:30 p.m. Register and inquiries at mbcondohoaexpo.com. And then on February the 9th, that's February 4th, February the 9th, same thing, this time in Palm Beach Gardens, Palm Beach County, pbcondohoaexpo.com. That will be at the Palm Beach County Convention Center at also 9 o'clock to 4:30. Same courses, 10:30, guest restrictions, 2021 legal update, 2:30. These are in-person classes. February 23rd is going to be the Broward Expo, which will be at the Signature Grand. We'll do the same courses, 10:30, guest restrictions, and legal update at 2:30. Register at browardcondohoaexpo.com. So that's what's coming up.
You're going to be busy in February.
Well, that's just the expos. We haven't talked about our other courses, and we'll save that for the show next month.
Okay. We got some calls. Let's take Martin in Lauderhill. Matthew.
Hello, you mean Matthew?
I mean Matthew.
Oh, Matthew.
Okay, I'm a big fan of Kaye Bender Rembaum.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, and I'm always going to the what used to be the luncheons at the various places. You get a lot of information there, and I thank you for doing those. The question
we'll be back.
About the 8-year rule.
8-year rule.
Board members that have been on the board for over 10 years. They were thinking of making it retroactive whenever that law came into being in either 2019, I think.
No, it was 2018.
What's the status of that rule?
That rule was effective, or the statute was effective July 1, 2018. It is not retroactive. The clock for the 8-year consecutive service limitation began on that date, July 1, 2018. So anything before that doesn't count. And so that point forward is when your term limits begin.
Okay, you answered my question. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, Matthew. Are you on the board, did you say?
I used to be on the board. I'm getting a little older now, so I'm taking it a little easier.
Okay.
But I may try to get back on the board again this year. We have an election, coming up shortly.
First of all, you're a great speaker. There's people who are thinking about going on their board. Can you give them what it was like being on the board?
Well, I think it's very important because you get to know what's going on, and especially if you have a good property manager. You talk to them on a weekly basis. Our particular condo has a lot of problems. Physical problems with landscaping, with roadways, and a lot of the physical part of the complex is deteriorating. So you need people who are up on this and to work with a good property manager to correct these items. If you don't do proper maintenance, things are going to fall apart. And it's important for people to be active in their communities. We live here. We want a nice place to live.
Well, your place, maybe it's probably because you're not on the board anymore. But once you go back, I bet the place gets cleaned up.
Thank you. Well, we're going to try. I do want to mention that going to the monthly luncheons, I used to go to the luncheon in Dade County, Broward County, and Palm Beach County. And the luncheons are fabulous. I mean, especially with the legal updates. But every month you have a different topic, and you learn so much.
So this is Robert's cousin speaking now. Thank you so much. Please call back anytime. We'd love to have you on the show again. That's a great help because there's people thinking about going on, running for a board member that have never done it before, and maybe you gave them a little insight.
Well, he also makes a good point. He makes a good point that these areas of the law are changing all the time. Every year there's adjustments made to the statute. The courts are reaching decisions, interpreting situations, and those are evolving as well. So it's important for members of the board to have appropriate assistance from experts in the field. Certainly good management's important. Management can't give you legal advice, so of course you need good legal and you need good accounting. In a situation as he described in his with a deteriorating condominium situation, they need to know where to go for expert assistance, engineering that can come out and inspect the buildings and identify the issues that need to be done. It's important also for associations to maintain adequate reserves in place so that they're not looking at large special assessments on a periodic basis to come up and pay for these repairs as they're coming due.
Let's go to our next call. We've got from Palm Beach, we've got Jeff. Are you still there, Jeff?
Hey there, I am here. Good evening. And I tell you, the show is popular when you're on hold longer than when I call into Howard Stern. So that's fantastic. But
that's funny.
Just a couple of quick questions. With regards to condominiums and their websites, the law says that all current contracts must be listed. Does that mean simply a list, or does that mean the actual files have to be on there for the unit owners to download and view? And the other question is, Robert, do you see Zoom and virtual meetings continuing after the pandemic? I will hang up and listen.
Thank you so much. Those are good questions.
I'll be here until you tell me to hang up.
Those are good questions. The website question involves condominiums. It doesn't involve HOAs under current statute. And only those condominiums that are managing over 150 units. Within that, they have to have a website, and certain documents have to be incorporated onto the website for owners to access. And the current contracts would require the actual contract documents to be accessible to the owners on the website, not just the name of who it is and what it's about. So you wouldn't be satisfying the statutory requirement by just putting up a list. Now, with respect to Zoom meetings in the future, we have heard discussions on whether or not it's appropriate for them to continue, if it's legal for them to continue. There's some differing opinions among practitioners out there as to whether or not there has to be emergency conditions or a state of emergency in order to allow associations to do that. I'm of the opinion that that's not required. The not-for-profit corporate statute contains an express provision that authorizes an association to hold a meeting in a virtual format if the board determines that that's what it wants to do, so long as everybody can access it and that they can communicate and see what's going on and actually have a meeting that's there. I think that a lot of the communities that we've been working with have found that it's actually a very efficient method of holding meetings, and they're finding it desirable. I know that certain attorneys prefer not to have to make the drives all over the place and meet certain deadlines, and sometimes heavy traffic causes delays and then you get there late. But Zoom meetings, you're right on time and everything goes like clockwork. So I believe that from the experience that associations have had during this crisis time, that they see the benefits of electronic meetings, and we're going to see them into the future as well.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, sir. You have a wonderful evening. And
thanks for listening.
Happy New Year to you both.
Thank you. Let's go to Bob in Coconut Creek. Bob?
I have, 2 questions. Yeah, hi. I have 2 questions about material changes. One is insurance companies say that we have to put a fence around our pool, community pool. Do we need is that considered a material change that we need homeowners to vote on? And the second question is about security cameras. Can we put security cameras in common areas without homeowners voting?
Well, first question, Bob, are you a condo or an HOA?
We're a condominium association.
Okay. So for a condominium association, as you may know, the statute provides that you're not allowed to have material alterations or substantial improvements to the common elements, except in the manner as provided in your governing documents. So the first step you have to take is to look at your documents to see whether or not there is a requirement of an owner vote, or if the board can do it. Sometimes it's tied to the expense that the improvement is going to be, to see what your requirements are if you are doing a material alteration. Now, the issues that you've identified, specifically a fence around the pool at the requirement of your insurance company, I would presume that if you don't put the fence up, then you lose your insurance. And you have a statutory obligation to maintain adequate insurance. So if you fail to do what the insurance carriers are requiring, you'll find yourself in violation of the statutes. Now, Florida case law has created an exception to the statutory requirement of owner approval to certain material alterations if those alterations are what were termed as necessary maintenance or obligations under the governing documents. The issue of the fence around the pool is probably one that's more in the gray area. I would reach the conclusion that under the facts and circumstances as you describe them, that's a step that the board could take without a vote of the owners. Clearly, getting the vote of the owners, if your documents require it, would be a safer approach, because if somebody were to file a complaint, you don't have to deal with it. But if getting the vote of the owners is problematic, or you don't think you can get the necessary percentage, even though it's mandated by your insurance carrier, you should go ahead and do that. Now, the issue of the security cameras is also a gray area. If you have documented instances of security issues that create the need for the enhanced security and the cameras to be installed, that would tip to the side of necessary maintenance. If you think, well, let's be prophylactic about this and put something on the buildings ahead of time so we can head off potential problems, then that could be viewed as a material alteration. Then you look to the documents to see if an owner vote is required. So in that set of circumstances, your documents have to be reviewed and determine what's required for you.
Does that answer your questions? I guess it did.
Still there, Bob?
Okay, I guess he did one of those. I'll listen to the question. We have another call I want to get in before we go to break. Angela in Fort Lauderdale. Hi, Angela.
Yes, my question. Hello there. My question is in reference to how to remove a board that we feel is not performing according to the homeowners. They are doing
Angela,
things
are you in
that
homeowners? Your homeowners
yes,
or
homeowners
condo?
association. Yeah,
Okay.
HOA. It's a home.
All right. Go ahead. You were going to say?
Yes, for the past few months, I know we've been under COVID, but they have an assessment that they put out. We had a meeting online, but they want us, instead of the agreement that we were working on in March at the beginning of COVID, they all of a sudden said that we have to pay that roof assessment in one lump sum by February. This community cannot afford that, but no one here can. Maybe some people. But what we are trying to do is to get together a petition for the removal of the board. So we're
And
wondering
when's your annual
if
election?
Pardon?
When's your annual elections, Angela?
Oh, the next election is in April.
Okay. The time frame of your next election is important from the perspective of if you're going to try to recall the board members. The statute provides that board members can be removed by a majority of the homeowners, and that you can do it in one of two methods. You can have a special meeting for that purpose, which rarely happens, or you could do it by a written agreement. And the written agreement is done with forms that are provided by the Department of Business and Professional Regulation. And you can download the form by going to their website within the state of Florida. And the form provides for you to fill out certain information. You have to list the individual board members that you're looking to recall. If you're trying to remove a majority or more of the board members, then you can add who you want to take their place. And then every individual authorized homeowner would sign one of these forms. When you've collected the majority, and you might get a few more than a majority in case there's a problem with any of those who have given them to you. You have to then deliver that to the association either by certified mail or by a process server as if you were serving a lawsuit. And once they receive that, then the board has 5 business days to review it and determine whether or not it's going to certify the recall and step down, or if they want to challenge it, in which case it could go to arbitration. Now, the time frame of your annual election is it has to be more than 60 days before or more than 60 days after your annual election for it to be effective. So you have a limited time frame. You only have until sometime in early February, I would guess, to complete it in order to Get it done more than 60 days before your annual election. Otherwise, you would need to wait until the annual election to do it.
Okay, and that was 60 days before the annual.
It has to be more than
we would
60
have to
days
notify.
before.
More than.
You'd have to deliver the completed recall package to the association more than 60 days before your annual election.
So next month.
So, yes, so next month.
No, it has to be early. It depends on when in April it's supposed to be.
True.
And if it's the first week in April, you got to get it done in January.
More than 60 days. So we have to have it done by the end of this month or before the end of this month in order to proceed.
Yeah. Otherwise, you'd have to wait
And
until your annual election and address it there.
Okay.
And I assume the whole board comes up for election every year?
Yes.
So that would be your requirement, Angela. Now do visit the DPR website and look under forms, and they have one for homeowner association, one for condominium association. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's generally easy to fill out, but do not pre-market. Each homeowner has to indicate whether they want to recall or retain the individual board members themselves. And once you've collected enough, you're good to go.
Okay, so the percentage that we would need of the homeowners.
A majority.
It would need the majority? Okay. We eat more than 60 days before we must submit this form to them, or we wait until the annual meeting and present it at that time.
Well, you wouldn't present it. You would just vote in a new group of people.
Oh, just vote in a new group of people?
Yes.
Okay. If I have any more questions, how long are you guys going to be on the air?
We go
until
off at
7 o'clock, or a little before.
Are you a board member?
No,
She's a homeowner.
Okay.
No, I was a board member, and we elected a new board, and they've kind of gone a little crazy.
You need to get back on that board.
Be president. Yes, that's what I said. So I'm working on it.
Okay. Thanks for calling.
I just didn't remember how this part was due. But I'll call back if any of the other people give me some questions.
Robert goes to bed before 2 a.m.
Okay, I'll call back.
You can reach out to us at info@kbrlegal.com.
Wait a minute. Info at?
kbrlegal.com.
KB. Oh, so that's the same address you all had. Okay, you used to be our attorney, KBR.
Well, we'd be happy to be your attorney again.
Yeah.
I am sure.
Thank you, Angela.
Back on there, you will be. You're welcome, dear.
All right.
Have a blessed day.
That was a good one. You too.
Bye-bye.
God bless. Let's go to break. Give everybody the phone number again.
Call us at 800-974-0680.
And the website?
kbrlegal.com.
We'll be right back with more. Attorney Robert Kaye. Senior partner, Kaye Bender Rembaum. We'll be right back.
Kaye Bender Rembaum is a full-service community association law firm devoted to the representation of more than 1,200 community associations throughout Florida under the direction of attorneys Robert L. Kaye, Esquire, Michael S. Bender, Esquire, and Jeffrey A. Rembaum, Esquire. Kaye Bender Rembaum is dedicated to providing clients with an unparalleled level of personalized and professional service regardless of their size and takes into account their individual needs and financial concerns. Kaye Rembaum assists clients in all matters of association representation, including but not limited to collection of assessments, contract negotiation, covenant review and amendment, covenant enforcement, and construction defect claims. Kaye Rembaum also keeps clients up to date on new developments in the condo and HOA law and how they are personally affected by them. Kaye Rembaum provides prompt, effective, high-quality, cost-efficient, and understandable legal advice and services to a diverse client base. Call Kaye Rembaum today at 800-974-0680. That's 800-974-0680.
Hey, we are back with the Ask the Expert show. We're on every Monday and Thursday from 6 to 7. And we have with us tonight definitely our favorite. Not one of our favorites, our favorite, attorney Robert Kaye. We got another phone call, Robert. Let's go to it. Joe in Coral Springs. Hi, Joe.
Hi. Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
I'm on the board, and if we have a unit owner that we have that we need to fine, but we haven't done it is there a limited time on when we can fine them for violating something?
There isn't a limited time that you can fine them, but you do have to follow the appropriate procedure in order to properly impose the fine.
I know,
You
but
have
let's
to have
say it's been 4 months or something. Can we still fine them, or is that really, we should have done it long before?
No, 4 months is not too long. What would be considered too long is anything over a year.
Okay, anything over a year. Okay. All right. Okay, I think
Now,
that answers
that
my
doesn't
question.
mean, Joe, that doesn't mean you absolutely cannot fine somebody for over a year, but there is a potential defense if you wait for over a year, so you don't want that to necessarily be an issue you have to deal with. It's best to address violations in a more timely fashion.
Okay. All right. Okay, I think that answers my question.
Okay,
Thank
Joe.
you.
Call back anytime.
All right, thank you for listening.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Had some good
Steve,
callers tonight. Yes, sir.
I did want you to know that you do have my favorite radio show to be on.
What? This is a new one. What's your favorite radio show to be on?
Yours, of course.
Oh, my
This
God.
one.
Now after all these years, you're finally sucking up to me? I'm the one who sucks up to you. We've got so many people who've written in questions. Cindy from Pompano. I've been digitizing our records for HOA. What are the rules? And do you suggest we also keep the paperwork?
Now, can you repeat that for me?
Yeah, Cindy from Pompano. I'm playing with them. No, I guess they're putting things up on their website, their records. It's an HOA, and he wants to know what the rules are. And
there are no rules for HOAs.
Okay.
You can look at condominium statutes to see what's required there, and if they ever add that to a homeowner association statute, you'll be ahead of the game. But there is currently no specific requirement of what they should or should not put on the website.
Okay. Nancy from Boynton, with COVID, we have our board meetings on Zoom, which is good. We're an HOA. If people are wearing masks, why can't we hold a meeting?
Well, depending on where you are, there may be local restrictions on the size of gatherings that you're allowed to have, even with masks. But the reason is that there's a risk of spreading the virus. So that's generally why people are not doing it. I don't believe it's a prohibition at the moment anywhere to not have your board meeting that way, but I think a lot of people are a little skittish in doing that, and probably will be for a balance of this coming year.
Okay, let's go. We got another phone call from George. Hi, George.
Thank you. Just sort of as a follow-up, for an annual meeting, a members' meeting, given the current emergency conditions, if they are still in effect, do you have to have an on-site location where if people want to, they can physically come to it, or can it actually be totally remote? Thank you.
Thanks,
George, are you in a condo?
I'm sorry, this is an HOA. Sorry, an HOA.
HOA. Okay. There isn't any firm guidance on this one way or the other as to necessity of having the on-site location as it comes to your annual election for homeowners association. It's a little dicey depending on the procedures of your documents, whether or not you can do advance or not. It becomes a little problematic for a homeowner association to hold a meeting on Zoom when it comes to the actual voting portion of it. Some of the platforms I do understand you can vote, but I'm not sure as to how private it is or whether or not you can have secret balloting as to how each owner is voting in that setting. And some owners may prefer that. Some communities we're aware of do have an on-site place where a small number can come with a computer set up that way in that location, but it's still the court. It's way too soon for the courts to have looked at this. So it's kind of the wild, wild west as to what's going on, and you just kind of have to take your circumstances and do the best you can to accommodate these issues. How each owner is voting in that way. Some owners may prefer that.
And our caller is. I think our caller has got what? Yeah, turn the radio down, caller. We can hear you in the background.
We can hear us, huh?
Yeah. Okay, I think you probably answered his question. Let's go to, we've got an email from Maria in Lake Worth. What is the difference between common elements and limited common elements?
Well, the word limited, of course. Both are common elements. Limited, these are defined in your declaration of condominium. Common elements, condominiums are made up of basically two things, units and common elements. If it isn't one, it's the other. So a part of the common elements may be dedicated to the exclusive use of an individual unit, and that would be typically identified as a limited common element. That's what it means. It's limited to the use of specific individual units. It could be more than one unit, but it's generally not open to all unit owners. The maintenance responsibility for a limited common element is specified in the document as well. Like an example of a limited common element could be an assigned parking space in the parking lot or the parking garage. A limited common element could be a balcony that's attached or a certain garden area off a terrace. Those things are still common elements, not part of the unit, but dedicated to the exclusive use of the individual unit.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4 people ask, and we've already talked about the beginning of the show, so we should probably do it again. When is your next board certification seminar?
Well, for condominiums, our next one is January 19th at 12 noon. We have the board member certification will be taught by Ann Black on Zoom. So you go to our website at kbrlegal.com and hit the calendar button and the event on January the 19th. Click on that to register, and then you'll be able to get all the information that you need at that point. We also have two courses on January 14th, if you want me to repeat them. 10:30, elections, condominium, HOA, and cooperative, the differences and the methods that they're supposed to be done, taught by Allison Hertz on Zoom, 10:30, January 14th. At 12 noon to 1 p.m., same day, January 14th, desk restrictions and screening tenants and new owners. Is it worthwhile? Taught by Peter Mullengarden. That's both on Zoom, both on January 14th. First one 10:30, second one noon, double header. Should be lots of fun. Go to the website, kbrlegal.com, calendars, and you'll find it there.
Let's sneak one more call in before we go. Sheila in West Palm Beach. Hi, Sheila.
I just wanted to know, we're planning to petition our board members, and once we do have all the information and we submit it and have a meeting with the board, what if they don't want to be removed? What happens then?
So you're talking about a recall petition, yes?
Yeah, recall the board. And what if they don't want to recall?
If the board refuses to accept the recall that you have delivered to them, you are then required to file a petition for arbitration with the Division of Condominium arbitration section within the Department of Business and Professional Regulation. And you can go on that website at DPR, and you will find in the Division of Condominium, in their arbitration section, there'll be a form that you can use. Better if you use an attorney to assist you in getting that part done. You don't need to have an attorney for it, but unless you're used to these types of things, you might find it a little bit daunting. So that's what you're able to do. They tinkered with that statute where it used to require the association to file the arbitration. They changed it now to make it the recalling owners that do it.
Okay, so I will go to Division of Condominium and get some information from them, and then there will be a form to fill out as well, you said.
Yeah, a petition for arbitration.
Petition of arbitration. Okay, well, thank you. That will help me a great deal. Thank you so much.
All right, and you can always reach us at info@kbrlegal.com and that type of an issue.
All right, thank you so much.
Wow, a lot of phone calls today, Robert.
Bye-bye.
A lot of boards getting recalled.
Yeah, right. Just so you know, Robert is with us the first Thursday of every month from 6 to 7, and then our other show is on 6 to 7 on Mondays. But continue emailing us or texting me with your questions if you can't go on live. Robert, I got to tell you, you just do such an incredible job with the show. That's why you're the biggest. You are the biggest in Florida, and if anyone doesn't like that, they can go, But we are so lucky to have your law firm, Kaye Bender Rembaum, on our show. And again, Happy New Year, and we'll see you again next month.
Thank you. But I'll miss you.
Okay. We got to go have lunch. We do.
Okay.
I'll even buy.
Got it.
And we'll see you all actually next Monday from 6 to 7 with more Ask the Experts. Have a wonderful weekend. God bless everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Ask the Expert Show, featuring interviews with local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Call our office at 888-574-6999 to become one of our experts on the show. And tune in again next week for more Ask the Experts with Steve-O.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not